Yeah, remember, Election Day falls during hurricane season. No tropical system has ever made landfall in the United States right on Election Day. 4 storms have made landfall 5 days or less before Election Day, and only one of those was during a presidential election year. The other ones were midterms. That was more than 100 years ago. And Ari, I learned from the great Bob Van Dillen.
I was going to say the same thing.
You learned too. It was history lesson on AWC today on America's Weather Center. It was Teddy Roosevelt. So we'll see that one coming up. But this is going back across the period of record 1861, 55 tropical storms plus.
So this is for the time period between November 2nd and November 8th. And this really kind of matches up with what it generally looks like in November forecast as far as where storms form. You've got this hotbed here in the Western Caribbean. It makes sense. This tends to be some of the warmest water that's still around. Of course, this year it's a little bit warmer than it has been in the past, to say the least. But out of all these storms that we've had, one of them has made landfall on Election Day itself.
As a hurricane.
Was it as a hurricane?
Yeah, it was 1904. Yeah, that was the Teddy Roosevelt one. And there it is. To your point, though, about all of this looking kind of generally like the November outlook, November is a month that, for obvious reasons, is a little bit front-loaded as opposed to activity closer to Thanksgiving.
Sure. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. You know, you get deeper into this. It's like it's exponential. It goes down exponentially as you go through the month of November. If you're going to get much action in November, usually it's early on in the month. But yeah, does that look like a little bit of a familiar track? I mean, not exactly like the last couple that we saw.
That's one of those that you're glad that track happened in November than August or September, because that would be exceedingly problematic. But another good point, too, is I say that typically the season would be front-loaded. This year, because of in spots like what we're watching in the Western Caribbean, sea surface temperatures are so warm, so it can behave like it's a little earlier.
Absolutely, yeah. Very warm water. If little areas of low pressure can find these little spots where there's not much wind shear, it can escalate quickly.
For that reason, we'll be watching.